Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Emily. I tutor the young apprentices, and today I'm going to go over what we did for new grammar for cycle 3, week 7. Also, I wanted to let you know that I have a playlist that I made for helpful tips for tin whistle. So I'll link that either up here or in the description or both. And for review today, we just continued on with our oils game, which I made a video about that as well, so I will also link that in the description. We've been doing that for weeks now. It's perfect for this age group, and so we're just continuing on with that. So first we did geography. We find our locations on the colored map first. We point to it and say it 3 times. Then after that, we get out our black line map and use our dry erase marker to mark it up. So for Minnesota, we drew a soda can in the top of this little chef's hat. You can see there's his body and his feet, and there's his little chef's hat. So we drew a soda can up there so we could remember Minnesota. Then for North and South Dakota, we did a big D. We did N for North, S for South. For Wyoming, we did a big Y in Wyoming, Y for Wyoming. And then for Nebraska, we drew a picture of Abraham Lincoln's top hat to help us remember Lincoln, Nebraska. So that was show me, and then for tell me, I say, tell me what is the state and capital that had the soda can in it, and then they say the state and capital, and then they can erase it. And then we have a song that we are learning, so we listen to the song as we point to the locations. It's not the song that CC provides, it's a different one that says the state name first and then the capital after that. So I will link that in the description for you to check out. One of the more seasoned tutors in our community uses it, and she said it helps her kids to be able to say the state name first when they're drawing the map from memory. We did the 13s this week for math. I have this printable that I handed out to the class. I'll link that in the description for you. The kids get really bored just doing normal pointing, so I'm trying to come up with some creative ideas for them. So this week the challenge was to use all 5 fingers to point to 5 numbers before moving on to pointing to the next 5 numbers. So as we listened to the song, they pointed to the numbers. We pushed in our chairs and stood up, and as we sang the song, we went around the table skipping, and then we all held hands in a circle and went around the table in a circle. Then we came back to the table and took turns saying the numbers on the sheet. So this was good practice for them to have to follow along as other people were saying numbers and to be able to recognize the larger numbers and say them out loud. So we went one way around the table, and then we did it again going the other way around the table, so the kids got different numbers each time. For Latin nouns, we just continued on with the song that we started last week. I'll link that in the description for you. It's an original song done by a family here on YouTube. That's a really cute song. The fun part for us was between Luke's and light, we just clapped 3 times. So yeah, it was pretty simple this week for Latin. Next we did timeline. So this week for timeline we did the abbreviated hand motions like we've been doing, and then we also did a little game to wrap up. So first I'll show you what we did for the hand motions. I'm getting these from CC Connected, and I'm just not using all the hand motions that they put out there because the kids and I are learning them for the first time. For Jesus the Messiah, we did the ASL sign for Jesus, and then we raised our hands in the air for Messiah. For 1 AD, we did the number 1. For early church, we did the ASL C with our hand, and we put it on the rock. The church is on the firm foundation, so C for church. For spreads the gospel, we did an ASL G, and our hand was like the Bible, and we were turning pages in it. So spreads the gospel. For Herod's temple, we did an ASL T on our hands like this for temple, and then we just took our hand down and left our hand up in a T for Titus. For decletion, we did an ASL D. So for the kids' sake, I said do an O with your hands and then put one ear, point your finger up. So there's the D. And for divides, we put our hands in an X like this and threw them down to the side. So divides. For Christianity, we did the sign for Jesus again. And for India's, we pointed to our forehead. Then we just played a game where I took some of the cards off the board and handed them to the kids. There's 8 kids in the class, so I took 4 off the board, handed it to 4 kids, mixed them up, and those kids had to go up and put them on the board, and then we did it again with the other 4 kids in the class. And as we put it up, we sang the song to make sure that we had them in the right order. For science, we did hand motions and a song. So first I'll show you the hand motions. For urinary tract, we took our fingers and ran them down our belly towards our belly button. And for lungs, we put our hands on our lungs. For skin, we rubbed our arm. For intestine, we made the same symbol we did for intestine for previous memory work. So we did this, but on our abdomen, down by our belly button. Okay, the song is to the tune of the opening song from VeggieTales that has like that tuba beat at the beginning. I got it from a great channel here on YouTube, so I'll share that in the description. So I tried to get the kids to dance to this, so we stood up, and for the tuba part we like went up and down, and then at the end we just danced around in a silly way. Not all of the kids were into it, but some of them had a blast, others just stood there, but it was fun. So it goes like this. Boom, 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 boom. 4 parts of the excretory system: urinary tract, lungs, skin, intestine. 4 parts of the excretory system: urinary tract, lungs, skin, intestines. Boy, do we excrete for you. Excretory, excretory, excretory system. Excretory, excretory, excretory system. For English, our director told us to state the question in this form. She said it was from CC, so let me know in the description if you've been told this or how you're prefacing this memory work. So, what are the verb principal parts of to rise? And we put this to the tune of Rise and Shine. So that goes like this. To rise, rise, rises, rose, rising, risen, to rise, rise, rises, rose, rising, risen, to rise, rise, rises, rose, rising, risen, to rise, irregular verb tense. And then last we did the history sentence about the Monroe Doctrine. I used this printable from CC Connected in the Scribblers section. My daughter really wanted to color it in to put it in front of the class, so she had fun coloring it in. And I just described it saying we were victorious after the War of 1812, and you could see that the flag was still standing. There's a little description on the bottom about how this is about the Star-Spangled Banner, but I didn't get into that because it wasn't in the sentence. Okay, so first I'll show you the hand motions we did, and then I'll go over the silly story that I made up for the kids to correct me and like reinforce the main words of the sentence. So for victory, we did a V with our fingers, V for victory. For the War of 1812, we did this for war. For United States, we put our hand over our heart. For Monroe Doctrine, we did this, like expanding Monroe Doctrine. For Europeans, you make a ASLE with your hand and go around your ear or your head, like this part of your head. And then for not to attempt, we put an X up with our hands and shook our head, not to attempt. And then for colonize, I looked up ASL colonize and there was quite a few different things I found, but the easiest one that I found that I stuck with was this, kind of down lower. So it's like you're grabbing up land. So colonize. And then for the Americas, we did kind of like a melting pot motion for that Americas. We ran out of time, but if we had time, I would have had the kids either march around the table while singing the song like they're soldiers, or with their hands like this, like they're carrying the American flag, or you can have them saluting, or fun like military related things just to get them moving. For the silly story, I go up on the board and I erase the keywords, and I tell them I'm going to say the sentence over again, and they just have to make sure that I get it right. So instead of victory, I said stinking. Instead of war, I said video game. Instead of Monroe Doctrine, I said macaroni and cheese. Instead of Europeans, I said puppy dogs. Instead of colonize, I said catapult. And instead of the Americas, I said the armchairs. The kids get a hoot out of this. I've heard from parents who aren't in the class because they're tutors that their kids talk about it after class, and it is really good for them to have to say the main words, because they'll say, no, that's wrong, but then sometimes they can't recall what the key word actually is, so it's good for them just to practice those main words over again. So that was week 7. We had a great time with our new hands-on science and our tin whistle. Again, like I said, if you missed it in the beginning, I did do some videos about tin whistle last year and the year before, so I put those all in a playlist for you to check out. If this content is helpful for you, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. That really helps the algorithm to get this video out to other people that would find it helpful. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you next week.